What's going on, XCFL fans? It's your boy Nick Larson here with another episode of the Hitstick podcast. We got episode number 9, special edition, the mock draft. Well, not mock draft version. We actually have our draft results. We're going to go pick by pick analysis. My co-host Brent Foster is not able to be with me today. So joining me in the XCFL studios is none other than Brian Mumford. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Nick. How about yourself?
Not bad at all. Very excited to have you on the show. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and I know I got some big Canadian shoes to fill with Brent, so I'm going to try my best to analyze every single pick and get everybody excited about this new season coming up.
Awesome. Okay, well let's go ahead and jump right into this. So we just had the draft last night. We're going to go pick by pick 1 through 32, starting at 1 obviously, and kind of work our way back, give our opinion on the guys. Might throw a draft grade or 2 out if we like the guy. If we think you guys really messed up, we might just let you know. So make sure do better next year. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with pick number 1. It was the Cincinnati Bengals, and they took he was a middle linebacker. They switched him to right outside linebacker, but his name is Trenton Morgan out of the University of Pittsburgh. Trenton Morgan, he's got the speed to fly all around the field. Much more of a cover 2, I'd say, outside linebacker. He's not really a 3-4 pass rusher, but only 21 years old, 6'1", 250 pounds. I think he can be a real playmaker for this Bengals defense. What about you?
What kind of sticks out to me first off is that he's 6'1", but he's only 21 years old, so he's got a lot of possibilities that he can do with this. Now he is a slow development, which is going to kind of hamper the XP that he's going to receive on this. But one thing I want to look at is he was drafted as a middle linebacker. He had one of the best combines out of any of the middle linebackers. He was almost a sure thing for this Bengals team. If you look at their roster, one of their biggest glaring needs is linebacker. I do like the fact that he did move him to the outside. He, like you said, he is definitely fit more for the 4-3 scheme than the 3-4.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. As far as the first overall pick, I guess you could say it's kind of a letdown. The Bengals probably thought they were coming away with this all-around stud, and I mean, he does have some nice attributes. That 87 hit power, 84 block shed really sticks out to me. But I think as we'll kind of get rocking and rolling through the rest of this draft, he might see some guys he would have rather taken with that number 1 overall pick.
Oh, and absolutely. And one little kind of side story here is that it's very interesting that the Bengals did put out a tweet about 5 minutes before the actual draft started that said that they met with another player, a cornerback by the name of Gross. And it said he had left the facility, and it seemed like everything was pointing towards this player getting picked. Something must have happened with the interview, and with the one-to-one interview, and they just decided to go with the middle linebacker. I think it was more of a sure thing because of the combine grades and all of his attributes that were unlocked. At number 1 for middle linebacker, to me, there's a lot more glaring needs and a lot more better positions that you could have got that. If I'm grading this, I'm personally giving it about a C+. C+ because he does already have the attributes. But I got to rate him lower because, you probably could have got a better player at that position like you had said.
I agree with you 100%. I was going to say C+ as well. He will be a good player, but as the number 1 overall pick, you're expecting a little bit more from him. But
absolutely.
Speaking of expecting more of a player, we're going to slide over to the number 2 pick in the draft. It was the Indianapolis Colts, and they went with the 5'11", 207-pound safety from Florida. I'm going to try his name here, Vei Tuatonga Hopkins. Now this guy out of Florida, like I said, is an absolute stud. He put up massive numbers at the combine. The height, 5'11", a little. It's probably ideal for a prototypical safety, but this guy is a beast. Superstar development. He's already sitting there 80 overall, 90 speed, 83 zone coverage, and then that 93 hit power. this little man pops a punch, man.
I
Go ahead.
love this guy.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite pick out of the entire draft. I was hoping that he would slide to me, but obviously that didn't happen. I'll tell you who this guy reminds me of. If you watch tape on him, he reminds me of a young Ed Reed. He is in the backfield. He can play strong safety, free safety. Pair him up with Malik Hooker. The Colts are really trying to develop the back end of their defense, and I love it. I mean, this is a passing league. Why not get the absolute best secondary in the entire game? I mean, there have been talks about this guy during the All-Pro game and everything. This guy just was shooting up the charts, and I really thought he was going to go first because there was actually talks about Cincinnati getting this guy, and he would have fit that need. But I love what the Colts did with this pick.
Yeah, you mentioned Malik Hooker, who they took in the first round last year, the other free safety. And, I think this is just a case of the Colts guy, they wanted the middle linebacker, Trenton Morgan, who went one. So he just kind of said, you know what, I'm going to take the best available player, and he's going to fit in my defense somewhere because he's that talented. So, I mean, like you said, this guy with the 93 hit power, he can slide over to strong safety, let Hooker play that free safety, that almost center fielder, and those two will be a deadly duo for the rest of the Madden cycle. I mean, that's a scary 1-2 punch at safety.
It really is. And the one thing that I do see, if you're going to move him over to strong safety, you're going to have to build that tackle up. That strong safety needs to be able to get up in the box and stop that run. I'm sure his block shedding is probably pretty decent. You don't have to do a lot with this guy. But, yeah, like you said, you pair him up with Malik Hooker, you have a great secondary. And a lot of people like to pass the post. They're going to think about it differently with this guy in the backfield. He could put with the injuries and everything, he could put your receiver out for weeks.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to find a nickname for this guy. Maybe we'll go with V-Hop, just because that first name is going to be a little tough for people to say. But nonetheless, the Colts got a stud. I'm going to give him an A for this pick here at number 2.
I give him an A plus. I mean, I'm going to
Boom.
give him, if it was 10 out of 10, I'd give him a 10. This is how much I love this pick. You got the second pick. You have to do something with the top 5 pick. They did it. They definitely hit a home run with this one.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, let's go over to number 3 with the number 3 pick, the New England Patriots, who are never drafting up in the top 5, but they went with probably the prospect most people were excited about until he ran a terrible 40 at the combine, but none other than the 6'6", 230-pound, 23-year-old wide receiver out of Ole Miss, Roland Mumphrey. Mumphrey, I mean, he was a surefire, set to be number 1 overall pick. Every team wanted him the minute they saw him and got their hands on some scouting reports. But then that, like I said, that 40-yard dash, he ran 4.5, I think it was 4.53, something like that. Ends up being 88 speed and then only an 89 acceleration. I mean, you can see with that 89 catching traffic, that 89 spectacular catch. This guy's no slouch still, but I think the expectations were so high. This guy's 6'6", maybe have a little more speed, who knows? But, I mean, it's still a great pick for the New England Patriots.
I got to kind of disagree with you there. I actually love this pick by the Patriots, and I'll tell you why. They with Tom Brady. Okay, if you look at their roster receivers, they're getting old. Okay, Edelman's getting up there in age. You got to get a go-to guy. This guy reminds me of a young Plaxico Burress. He's from Ole Miss, where they had Laquan Treadwell. And I talked to the coach about it, and he said that this guy is even better than Laquan Treadwell coming out. This guy is, he was shooting up the radar with a lot of teams, and I know a lot of teams that if he would have fell, he would have been snatched up pretty quickly. You don't have to do a lot with this guy. He's got 93 jumping. Toss it up, fade route, you've got a first down. Another person that he kind of reminds me of, Mike Evans.
Oh, yeah.
I like the pick.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, but you don't have to do much. All the catching, he could keep the catching there for the rest of his career, and he is perfectly fine. Up the speed a little bit if you get, some big XP points, and you got yourself a stud.
Now, we'll see that they were trying to move out of this pick.
Oh, yeah.
I know I talked with a number of teams that were talking with the Patriots, and Patriots were just going to give this pick, bend over, and just give it to anybody for peanuts. So I don't understand that. But they traded their best receiver on the team for this pick, Brandon Cooks, and they went out and got Mumphrey, which is a different type of receiver. Brandon Cooks isn't as tall, but he's a lot faster. Maybe they're trying to build more of that red zone threat now. Now that Brady's getting older and probably going to retire.
Yeah, he also made a trade with my Detroit Lions. He traded for Marvin Jones, which is another big body receiver, jump ball guy. So I mean, You got Edelman in the slot, Mumphrey and Marvin Jones out wide. They could be, and I mean, obviously Rob Gronkowski. This team could be a matchup nightmare for some teams out there.
Absolutely. If I'm give them a grade, I'm giving them a B. Just because they probably could have got something else. They have a lot of glaring needs on defense, especially. But I do like to pick enough to give it a B because he is better than all the other receivers, in my opinion.
Yep, I'm going to go with a B minus just because I was a little let down by the speed, but still a great pick, obviously, and he'll be a stud for years to come. But we are going to move to number 4, one of my favorite picks. It was actually your pick, but with the number 4 pick, the Atlanta Falcons took the right end out of Oklahoma, Jamal Perkins. This guy has a crazy story where he was actually kicked off the team, I think, before the college football season even started. And I mean, this guy, I mean, talk about a crazy chain of events, but he still ends up being the number 4 pick in the draft. So even with maybe some character off the field issues, this guy is that talented where he was still able to go in the top 5 of the XCFL draft.
There's one player I want to remind you of, Randy Moss. Randy Moss had a lot of questions coming in. I mean, nobody questioned his talent. They questioned his character. But he was able to go to a Dennis Green coach team, and he was able to mold him into the player that he is. The reason why that I took him here is that I loved his attributes in his combine. He was so far above the other ends. It wasn't even close, in my opinion. I did talk to the coach. I did talk to Bob Stoops a lot. He told me that it was just unfortunate, circumstances, but he told me that, with this guy, he was so fiery and passionate. He actually led that team. I mean, when he was on the team, he was the leader in that locker room. And this is what we're looking for in Atlanta. Another reason is Power Moves 88.
Yeah.
I didn't need to bolster my end, but I'm taking best player available. And in my opinion, a 6'7", 280-pound end with 91 strength, to me, that was just, I couldn't pass on it. This guy reminds me a lot of Julius Peppers as well.
Yeah, I mean, your pass rush, you have Tack McKinley, who's a beast, more of a finesse pass rusher. You have Vic Beasley. I mean, your end that you just drafted is 6'7", almost 300 pounds. And then you have DeForest Buckner on the other side, who is also 6'7", 300 pounds. Buckner and Perkins can slide inside, play D tackle, can slide outside, play end. They're athletic enough. This could be a dangerous defense in Atlanta. That's for sure. But
Yeah, and I'm not going to give myself a grade, obviously, but this is, I'm kind of bummed that he wasn't a superstar development. But if you look at his stats, I don't need to really do much with him.
No.
He's gonna go ahead and produce on the field to get me XP, and I build up that play rec and awareness. He's already there.
Yeah, that 91 strength. I mean, he was the number 1 in the bench press out of all defensive linemen. I think he put up 36, 37 reps, something just insane. But yeah, you definitely got yourself a good one with Jamal Perkins here. I'm gonna give you an A. So excellent job there, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna go number 5. Now this pick was, I was talking with the Eagles owner who originally had the pick, and he ended up he really wanted Hopkins. He really wanted V Hop, who obviously went at number 2. So when he saw him go at 2. He slightly panicked and ended up making a deal with the Chargers where he slid back to 11 and got the Chargers' 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks in this year's draft. And the Chargers slides up 6 spots and ends up taking, with that pick, Tremonde Franklin, the free safety out of Nebraska. Now this guy at the combine, he shot out of a cannon, ran a 4.31 40-yard dash, which translates to a 97 overall speed. What else needs to be said about a safety with 97 speed?
Yeah, and you can't really teach that. For me, the 97 speed isn't as important because you're kind of playing back anyway. Mm-hmm. But think about those speedster receivers that go in the slot position. He's going to be able to cover them man-to-man because he's going to already be in the back of the field. One thing that kind of sticks out, actually at Nebraska, he led the Big Ten in interceptions with 7. So he was very impressive. You could probably even build him enough to where you can move him over to a corner if you needed that help.
Exactly what I was just about to say too. Yeah, definitely. Bump his man coverage up, a little press coverage, and he can easily, with that speed, can easily play corner in this league as well.
Yeah, and he was trying to trade up, and obviously he found a perfect partner with the Eagles.
Yep.
There wasn't any quarterback in this class that was worth drafting for Rivers, but if you look at that defense, they're nasty. They got Joey Bosa, and they're just loaded, and all they really needed was a safety. And this is what I mean. He fell right in his lap. So he's the second best safety, but I mean he's no slouch.
Yeah, I think this is the guy the Chargers owner had in mind when he oh sorry, something in my throat, when he actually wanted to trade up, and this is the exact guy he wanted, and he got him. So he's very excited. But so I mean, what would you give that as a grade?
I'm gonna give it a B.
B.
Obviously, he's not the best safety in the class, but I mean, you had to go with that pick. I do like it. He didn't have superstar development, but again, he's one of those guys that you really don't have to bolster up. He's already got his attributes there.
Yep, that 97 speed. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a B plus. I was really high on Franklin. It almost traded up to 5 myself to get him, but I just realized I would rather have my 2 picks in the first round. I ended up hanging back, and I was very happy with my decision. But Franklin's a stud. B, what did I say? B plus? B,
Yeah,
B
I
plus
said
for
B.
me. All right, so let's go ahead here and slide over to number 6, where the Chicago Bears ended up drafting the 6'5", 317-pound left tackle out of Ole Miss. We got another guy out of Ole Miss. We just had Mumphrey, the receiver, go, and now we're going to have the tackle Alvarone Hartz. Now Hartz was a guy that a lot of people thought could go 1, 2 in the draft. You know, that stud left tackle ends up getting superstar development. Didn't perform as well as he wanted on the bench press, which could have dropped him. But he's only 22 years old, has a lot of room to develop. Solid blocking traits. Who knows? This is a good left tackle for years to come for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and the second Ole Miss player that we're talking about already. One thing that I can tell you is that he was number 3 on my draft board. If Hopkins and if Hopkins and Perk was going to be gone, this is the guy I was going to go with. I mean, this guy, yeah, if it was me, I put him at left guard. He doesn't have the strength to be that left tackle, but he's got all the attributes, and he just soared way up there during the weeks. I mean, leading up, everybody just raved about how great this guy was at left tackle. Imagine him in the pros. I think he's too weak for that left tackle or right tackle position, but I think he's going to be a perfect guard center, that type of deal. He's got 83 acceleration. This is a perfect pick. Mm-hmm. Superstar development. He's going to be able to help protect that franchise quarterback in Trubisky.
Yeah, it's a great move from the Bears. I think they did take the best available player here and still drafted for need at the same time, which you can't go wrong when the best available player is one of your biggest needs. Like you said, he can slide into guard. He can sit there. He can play tackle, maybe even a little bit of center. Who knows? But that 86 impact blocking is going to be huge. And like we said, superstar development. This is a great left tackle for the Chicago Bears.
Absolutely. If I'm grading it, I'm giving it an A.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's a great pick. You can't go wrong with a tackle or a guard in this early in the draft. Alrighty, so Bears done. We're going to go to number 7. This is one of the Ravens picks. He actually had 2 picks in the top 12 here, so this is the first one. He actually made a trade with the Green Bay Packers, and he went up and took the tight end out of Florida, C.J. Boyette. Boyette was ranked the top tight end, ends up getting a 79 overall rating, 83 speed. I mean, very good catch skills. What's your take on C.J. Boyette, the 22-year-old guy out of Florida?
I like him. I'm not big on taking tight ends early, but when you have that rare talent at tight end, you have to take him, and that's what I believe. I talked to McElwain, and McElwain loved him in Florida. He said that what he reminded him was a young, like O.J. Howard, which is another great tight end in the league. I mean, this guy's already he can catch for you. He can catch in traffic. He can break up that middle, and it's going to be hard for a lot of those middle linebackers to cover him with that 85 acceleration. I don't love his run blocking, but again, when you're getting a tight end this early, you're not getting him because he's a great run blocker. You're getting him because he's a playmaker. I do like the pick, but with this high with a tight end, I don't love it, but this guy's a rare talent. So
yeah, I'm with you there. I don't like taking tight ends this early, but he was one of 3 tight ends taken in the first round, and I mean he's a great player. They also have Darren Waller at tight end, so I don't know if tight end was their number 1 need because Waller's an absolute burner at 6'6". But I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets from the Baltimore Ravens, and with two picks in the top 12, he must have had a plan set up, and I think he got his guy here that he wanted.
Yeah, and the only other thing I'll say, if they're going to do 2 tight end sets, the problem with it is the run blocking. You're going to have teams that aren't going to be really afraid to run that nickel and dime because they're not really going to be threatened by that tight end. So while I agree that it's a good pick, they have the position there already. You probably could have filled another need. I mean, the Ravens have quite a bit of needs from what I looked at with their roster. So, but I don't hate the pick. I mean, if you love him enough, you get him. You go up and get your guy.
Oh yeah. And so with this next pick, we actually had this is a very interesting pick. With number 8, the Buffalo Bills took the Heisman Trophy winning strong safety out of Wisconsin, Hayden Hicks. Yes, I said strong safety and Heisman Trophy winner in the same sentence. Um, I mean, we all know what a feat that is to be a defensive player and win the Heisman Trophy. That's almost, I mean, it's unheard of. A guy who strictly plays defense. He must have put up gigantic stats at Wisconsin. This is one of, I think, 4 or 5 Wisconsin players taken in the first round of this draft. But Hicks gets that superstar development, 88 hit power, zone coverage is decent, but that pursuit and that acceleration are what stick out to me at 87 and 92. This guy's a real solid fundamental player, a typical Wisconsin safety. I think the Bills got a good one here.
I agree with you. I mean, to win the Heisman as a safety, you have to perform above everyone else and have the media on your attention every single week. I love it. I think this guy is going to be able to anchor that defense, and especially with the kind of soft secondary they have now. He's going to be able to come up in the box and with that 88 hit power, he's going to be able to make some things happen and maybe force some turnovers. I do like this pick.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the only thing that concerns me is that 87 speed, but obviously at the college level, it didn't seem to hinder him too much as he made plays all over the field, got to the backfield, making sacks on the quarterback, interceptions. I mean, just an all-around playmaking ability that you can't teach, and you can't really show it on paper, and you can't show it the attributes on a page. But I mean, to win the Heisman Trophy as a defensive player, you're getting a good one in Buffalo. But if I'm going to grade it, that speed throws me off a bit. I'm going to give you a B, Buffalo Bills.
I'm gonna give him a B plus. And one thing I want to mention with the speed, just keep in mind he's strong safety. He
Mm-hmm.
his main job is going to be running up there and stopping the run and being able to kind of control that middle of the field with that 92 acceleration. He's going to be able to get there. I don't like him trailing the big fast receivers, but I don't think that's why they drafted him. A B plus in my opinion. You can't pass up on the safety Heisman winner in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, this next pick I'm very familiar with. It was number 9. It was my pick. I ended up trading the Patriots. I traded Marvin Jones and a combination of picks to get up there. So with the 9th pick in the XCFL draft, the Detroit Lions took Spencer Frazier, the 6'3" wide or the 6'3" cornerback out of Texas. Um, I'll just talk about Spencer a little bit here. He is exactly what I wanted. I loved all the corners in the draft, and I had him ranked as my number 1 corner. Was hoping he would fall to me at 9, and he did. He ended up being the first corner taken. And I mean, that 96 speed, 94 acceleration, 89 agility. I mean, he's got some weak coverages right off the bat, but you can't teach height, you can't teach speed, and he's only 22 years old, so I'm definitely going to get that slow development up. But I am very happy with my guy Spencer Frazier here.
Yeah, and I like this pick. Yeah, he's got slow development. Yeah, he's got 73 zone, but he's the most athletic cornerback in this draft. There's things that you can help and get his numbers up. There's a reason why he was the first cornerback taken. I wouldn't keep him in. If you're going to do maybe like a third down, put him in the slot or something like
Mm-hmm.
that because he's going to be able to keep up with the slot receivers. I do like that. Then you can potentially put him on the outside once you've been able to build that up. 85 press, he's going to be able to lock down a lot of those receivers as well. I do like this pick.
And I mean, he's 6'3", he's got 95 jump. I mean, this guy is going to be able to shut down any of the big corners. And the real reason I wanted to get him with that speed and that size is because I also have Kevin King, who's sitting there at 23 years old, and he's also 6'3", and he's a speedster as well. So King and Frazier, both 6'3", I'm going to feel real good going up against some big-time receivers in the XCFL. But
Absolutely. And I think that, that young cornerback core, as long as you have some good coaching behind that, to help those young players develop, I think this is going to be an absolute, great pick. Because the slow development in
mhm.
the zone, I would have to say I'd give it a B minus. I don't hate it. I do like it. He's an athletic freak.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I expected the low grade. I expected the low coverage after attributes, but it's exactly what I wanted in my little project to work on. I'm very excited with this pick, and I won't grade it because it's my pick, obviously. But nonetheless, let's move on here. Rounding out our top 10, we had the New Orleans Saints, and this is back-to-back players from Texas. We had Antoine Wilson, the right end out of Texas. Wilson is an interesting pick. 86 speed as a defensive end, 87 acceleration, 88 finesse moves. I mean, this guy's going to be something special in this New Orleans Saints defense.
I do like this pick. I don't love it, but this guy he is fast. He doesn't have that strength, but if they're going to run a 4-3, it doesn't worry me at all. You can build up the power moves. His block shedding's good enough to get by, but with that finesse move, you're going to be able to get past those left tackles pretty quickly, especially with that 87 acceleration. They have a good pass rusher with Antoine Wilson, but I got to say I've never seen a white Antoine
I was
Wilson.
about to say that too. The defensive end was definitely a need they had. They had Alex Okafor who just wasn't quite getting the job done. But now you put Wilson across from Cameron Jordan. Cameron Jordan brings the power. Wilson's going to give you that speed. That could be a cool duo to watch in the XCFL. I think Wilson was our highest graded player at an 82 overall coming into the draft here. So that he went at 10. But I think the Saints filled one of their biggest needs here. So I'm going to go ahead and give him an A for this pick just because it fills a need. And this guy's an absolute speedster.
I'm going to give him a B plus. Everything that you just said, the 88 finesse move, 86 speed, 87 acceleration, everything else you can build up pretty easily. I think this guy could be defensive rookie of the year. He's going to make an impact right away.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're going to slide out of the top 10 here, go to number 11. So if you remember, this is where the Eagles traded down from 5-2. I spoke with the John Eagle, the head coach of the Eagles, before the draft, and he wanted a running back. He was looking at that power back, Angel McDonald out of USC. And, I mean, obviously, you can see on the screen, he ended up going with the running back out of Houston, Dyron Anubi, I think it is. But he's 22. His dad was an Olympic track star, so he's got that superstar talent. 94 speed. The guy's an absolute burner. A little rough around the edges. One of our lower ranked guys, but you get that superstar attribute. You get the 94 speed, which you can't teach. I think this will be a fun running back to watch, especially paired with LeGarrette Blount. You get a little thunder, a little lightning there. This could be something cool.
Yeah, and what this guy really reminds me of another running back that actually was there. It was Darren Sproles. Not a big guy, but what kind of worries me with your first pick, another player he kind of reminds me of is Christian McCaffrey. You're not going to be able to use him as your bell cow. He's not going to be your workhorse, but that's not why you get him. He's a playmaker. You can throw him in the slot, wheel routes. He's going to make the defense game plan around him, especially like what you said about his father being an Olympic track star. His mother was actually a professional tennis player, so he's got that athletic gene. He's got the 85 juke move. I mean, he's right there. I just worry that is his body going to be able to take that type of NFL punishment? They're not going to be able to feed this guy 20 to 30 carries a game.
Yeah, it's a risky pick. It's a high risk, high reward. I think he probably was the best running back though available. Because that Angel McDonald just is a power back, a little slower. Wasn't a deep running back class, so I mean, you'd like to see him almost trade down again, add more picks, and then take this guy later on in the first round. Because I think 11's a little high, which is the reason I'm going to go with a B minus. Good player, superstar development, but just where he was taken, I just don't really agree with.
Yeah, and he's getting a B minus from me as well, just solely because of his athletic genes and the superstar development. I'm not crazy about the pick, but that's pretty much what gave me the B minus. But I think he's glad he did not get McDonald over Dyron.
Yeah, oh yeah. All right, so at number 12 here, we had the Ravens' second pick, and they ended up going with the free safety out of Wisconsin, Thomas Martinez. So Martinez was actually the safety next to the Heisman Trophy winner, Hayden Hicks. So you got two safeties from Wisconsin going in the top 12 of the draft. Also, I mean, you got a bunch more coming later in this draft as well from Wisconsin, but Martinez, what's your take on Thomas Martinez? I mean, he's got the 95 speed, 92 acceleration. Everything else is a little low. The zone coverage and man coverage, but I mean he has some raw traits that he could be a good player.
Yeah, I do like him. He actually lost some steam because he wasn't, the other free safety in that backfield. But I don't love the pick. I feel like there's too many safeties going. You probably could have waited, maybe got another safety, later. None of his attributes really stick out besides, his speed, acceleration, and pursuit. He's not much of a tackler. Obviously, you don't need that, but the zone coverage kind of scares me. You want your free safety to have that type of zone coverage. You want him to have a little bit better man. And the slow development, it's going to take him a bit to get that up. I don't like the pick. But him being in that back, in the back secondary with the other safety. I think that he has actually developed some, tools that he's going to be able to take with him in Baltimore. He's no Ed Reed, obviously,
Yeah.
but I do like the pick. And, Baltimore's always known for picking their defense. So
Yeah, and they need to replace Eric Weddle, who's probably got 1 year left. And he's at the end. He's almost not even usable in with this XCFL with the speed we're going to see this year. So I think Martinez will be nice to learn from Weddle. He can take what he learned from Hicks and kind of put that together. But yeah, like you said, other than the speed, he's got the slow development. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a C plus B minus. I like the speed, but everything else says too early to me.
I'm giving him a C minus. Like I said, there's nothing that really sticks out. My personal belief what you do with him right now, he's going to be your backup, and you're going to put him as a kick returner or punt returner.
Oh, there you go.
Other than that, C minus. I don't really like this pick.
Alrighty, well, we're going to move on to 13, which we had the Denver Broncos. The Broncos actually went with a right end. They took another big guy, kind of like the guy you took up there at 4, but he's 6'3", 290 pounds, a 21-year-old out of Notre Dame, Daniel Bullock. I think Bullock's a little sleeper here. 90 strength, 85 tackle, 83 power moves. He's almost like a poor man's Jamal Perkins up there.
He is. I do like him. Notre Dame's always been known for having good defenses. Obviously with the Broncos, they're getting older on that defense, so he's going to have to be able to bolster that line. But guess what? He's going to be on the other side of Derek Wolfe. Derek Wolfe's going to demand that double team where he isn't. He's going to be able to get some production pretty soon now. I do like his acceleration. He's going to be able to get in the backfield and make a presence. The block shedding's 81. That's great. I think that he's going to be enough to be able to at least get some tackles and, stop that run game, because the Broncos have had a pretty poor run defense in years past. And I think that's probably why they went with him. They kind of leaned on him because they're like, you know what? He's a run stopper. This is what we need in this situation. With 90 strength, you could even probably throw him at nose tackle and you wouldn't miss a beat.
Yeah,
he is kind of undersized though.
Yep, I agree with you. He's got the traits to play in that 3-4 nose tackle position. He's just a little small. But I do like. I mean, he's versatile. You can play him with Von Miller. You can play him with Shane Ray. All these guys who are just going to help teach him, get him some experience on that defensive line, get him some pass rushing moves. I think this will be a good fit for Bullock. I think he'll be able to make some moves. I think he could potentially compete up there for a defense rookie of the year, only because there's going to be so much attention on other pass rushers in that defense that he might be able to slide through and get a couple sacks.
Yep. My thoughts exactly, and he's only 21, so the sky's the limit for this kid.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna be he's with the best defense, like you had pointed out. So I do like this pick. For me, it's a B plus because again he's in a perfect situation.
Yep, I'm gonna go with a B for that exact reason. But I do like the pick. I think it was a great pick at number 13, an 80 overall guy to snag him. I like it. But now we're going to go to 14. We're rounding out the first half almost here. We had the San Francisco 49ers, and they ended up taking the first defensive tackle, Albert Lewis, out of LSU. Lewis was ranked pretty high, graded pretty high in all his combine stats, put up some solid numbers on the bench press. Another young guy, 22 years old, 6'4", 330 pounds. This guy, he kind of reminds me of a Glenn Dorsey coming out of LSU. I mean, Dorsey was an absolute monster in college, but obviously we know kind of faded out in the pros. But in college, Glenn Dorsey was a stud.
One thing I want to point out with your typical nose tackles, you're not that fast, and you really don't have a big burst. Mm-hmm. You look at guys like B.J. Raji, Will Fork; those are just big guys that just plug up the middle. Not in this guy's case. He was far and beyond the best defensive tackle in this class. Straight up. I mean, he had the best combine numbers. He had, he was a projected, I think mid-round first. 89 strength. He's kind of a little bit weaker to play that nose tackle, but I think that with pairing him beside Solomon Thomas, they run that 4-3. No one's going to run up the middle on these guys. I mean, he's already got 80 power move, 81 block shed. He's going to be cheap to move up. I do like this pick.
Yeah, this is a good pick. I'm going to go with a B here. Just because I'm not a fan of D tackles crazy early, especially ones. I mean, I'd like to write the defensive ends that can play D tackle, but D tackle early for me, not a big fan. Like I said, I'll go with the B.
I'm going with the B too, but I also have to point out that the defensive tackle was that position was not really that loaded. I mean, he was far and beyond the best one, and if that's what your need, I mean, you got to get at that pick, but. absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, so 14 in the books. We're going to go to 15 here with the Washington Redskins. We have Coach Jack here. Jack loves his tall, fast secondary. So I almost knew no matter what I knew he was going to go with here, whichever guy I didn't take in the secondary, and he ends up going with the cornerback out of Clemson, Marshawn Hodges. This was my second ranked quarterback that I wanted. 6'2", 212 pounds. He ran a 4.37 at the combine. Translates to 92 speed, 94 acceleration, 91 agility. He is slow development, but you can kind of see he's a little more built up than my guy is with the 81-76 coverages. But I kind of like Marshawn Hodges. What's your take on Hodges?
I like Hodges too. One thing that I noticed, he really shot up the boards after the championship game. He had 2 interceptions in that game, and it really just changed the whole dynamic. And when he went to the combine, he just put up, monstrous numbers. I don't know if that's going to equate to the next level, based off of those two things, but I do like him. I mean, you could put him as a punt returner right now. He's got 81 man, 76 zone. To me, those are both kind of middle of the road, but I do like it. I mean, 91 agility, he's got to be your kick returner, right?
Yeah.
83 press, he's going to be able to, slow down those receivers. While I do like the pick, I think people are kind of over inflating him a little bit.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I mean, looking at this Washington Redskins roster, he is their most talented cornerback, so he will be in their opening day lineup at that number one corner spot, next to Witherspoon, next to Dunbar. I know Dunbar's on the trade block, but I mean, I go down the list of Jack's corners, and they're 6'2", 6'3", 6'2", 6'2", 6'2", 6'3". I mean, you can kind of see how he's building his team. It worked for him last Madden cycle. We'll see how it goes this Madden cycle, but Marshawn Hodges, not a bad pick. If I had to grade it, probably would go with a B here just because he did need a corner. But I do like Hodges. Just the slow development kind of hurts him too.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B minus, and it's because of the slow development. I think people were kind of over pursuing him just because based upon his combine and the championship game.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to 16, which is another pick from your Detroit Lions, me, myself here. And I went with he was a right tackle, Russell Felix out of Wisconsin. So another Wisconsin guy going off the board. I ended up switching Russell here to a right guard. He's got some crazy high acceleration. His run blocking is sitting there at 89, which is off the charts. Impact blocking, 89. Got the superstar trait, 91 strength. Russell Felix is a stud, in my opinion. Not to toot my own horn.
Well, looking at him, I mean, if there's any player in this draft that's going to start now and NFL ready, it's him. And he's only 22 years old. He's got the second highest rated overall, 81. Superstar development, 89 impact block, meaning he's going to put people in their ass and pancake them. His pass block is a little bit lower, but typically with your right side, you want more of a run block type anyway. With that at 80 acceleration, he's going to be able to pull back on those power runs. I love this pick. I'll be honest, he was one of the guys that I wanted if he was going to fall to me. With that 91 strength, no one's going to bully him around. He definitely helps bolster that line.
Oh yeah, pairing him up with Taylor Decker, I'm really excited for what Russell Felix is going to bring to my team. I can almost guarantee he'll be an everyday right guard, left guard for me until he retires. I mean, if we up that pass blocking, I have no problem moving him back to tackle. But I'm real excited with Russell Felix. He's very versatile. This is a great pick for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you an A. I mean, basically everything that I went over anyway. It's not going to take much to get his pass blocking up because of the superstar development trait. Russell Felix is just a monster. Him coming out of Wisconsin as well. That Wisconsin had put out a lot of players this year, and obviously them going to the national championship didn't hurt. So he got a lot of media exposure, but that's he didn't get a lot during the year, but that kind of helped you out. I think that's why he dropped because there's a lot of people saying, why did this guy drop? I think it was because he just didn't get a lot of exposure early on.
It also was a very deep class of offensive linemen, so I think people thought they could draft other needs up high and take a lineman later on. And I mean, they definitely was. You'll see as we go through the rest of these picks, a lot of talented offensive linemen the rest of the way here. But let's go ahead and slide to 17. We're going to go to the Los Angeles Rams, who actually got this pick in a trade with the Tennessee Titans. And I really like what the Rams did here at 17, and they took the cornerback out of Florida State, Jimmy Ivey. Jimmy Ivey might be I mean, other than maybe Gross, and I think other than Gross, Ivy is the most ready to play cornerback in this draft. 91 speed, 94 acceleration. I mean, and he's got the coverages: 85 man, 80 zone, 85 press. He does have the slow development, but like I said, he's built to play right now, and the slow development is not going to hurt him at all.
Yeah, and one thing when I talked to McElwain about the other players, one thing I did ask about Ivy, I said, um, how does he kind of compare to the previous cornerbacks that have been at Florida, like your Joe Hayden and Hargraves? He said he is outstanding, one of the most mature kids that you would sit down and talk to. He's been ready to play for a year. He was actually thinking about coming out his junior year, but he ended up staying to get his degree. You got to love a kid like that. 85 man coverage, 80 zone. He's ready to play now. You just have to build that play rec up, which isn't going to be hard. He is slow development, but when you got a player that's already had those attributes up, you got to play him. He's going to be on the other side. I think Johnson. So he's ready now. I do like the pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an A as the grade here, just because that was a big need for the Rams. And I mean he's gonna slide in, like you said, day one. He'll be a starter. I don't know if he'll be the number one corner, number two, but regardless, he's gonna be out there, and he's gonna produce for the Rams.
I'm going to give it a B, B plus, just because the slow development. But that's the only thing holding me back from an A. Yeah, you go with need. He had to get him. He's fast. He's going to keep up with everybody. The Rams defense, obviously, with Donald getting in the backfield, this guy's going to be able to shut down the receivers, and I think that's even going to help their defense even more. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, a strong pass rush, you don't even need as talented of corners, because that ball's got to come out quick. All right, so we're going to move to the Panthers pick. Carolina Panthers here at number 18. They went with the right outside linebacker, another guy out of Wisconsin, Ellis McMillan. McMillan, 6'1", 237 pounds. He's kind of an undersized linebacker. He's more of a 3-4 pass rusher. He does have that slow development, but he comes in with 88 tackle as a rookie. That's a pretty nice trait to have.
Who this guy reminds me of is Derek Thomas. I mean, the way that he played the game, he was more of like a 4-3 linebacker. I like the way that Ellis McMillan plays too. And look what school he went to, Wisconsin.
Yep.
I mean, that defense was loaded from top to bottom. He actually dominated in the championship game. 88 tackle. He had, probably – I think he was third best out of tackles through the entire country. So with that 85 speed to go with it, he's going to be a force on the field. And think about this, he's going to be paired next to Kuechly. That is going to be a pretty dominant defense right there.
Yep, they lose Thomas Davis Sr. and they add Ellis McMillan, pair him with Kuechly, like you said. McMillan will be solid. I mean, let's talk about that Wisconsin defense. They have three defenders going in the top 18 picks in the draft. That's crazy. But, yeah. All right, so moving on here, we're going to go. It was another one of your picks here. You went with Joseph Deal out of Pittsburgh, the right tackle. This was the New York Giants pick. I believe you traded this was involved in the Julio Jones deal, wasn't it?
That's correct. I traded Julio Jones for pretty much Joseph Deal and Sterling Shepard.
Yep, which is a great pick for you. I mean, Deal, like we said, this is a deep offensive line class. You get the 89 strength, which you can't teach. He's got the acceleration, so you can move him to guard. 85 impact block. I mean, he's not the most ready to go right now, but you can easily throw him in, get his development right up, and he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little bit bummed that he didn't have better attributes, but he's got the strength and acceleration, so I can move him anywhere on the line. With my aging offensive line, I had to go. Offensive line with one of my first 3 picks. I probably reached a little bit on him, but I am happy that he's going to probably play left or right guard, but probably in another year or two when Schrader moves on, he's going to go to the right tackle where he belongs. I do like the pick. He played at Pittsburgh, didn't have a lot of, he didn't have a lot of people, talking about him throughout the years, but he was a decent pick for me, and he's going to start right away. So.
Awesome. I think it's a great pick. I'm going to go with the B just because the 2 blockings are a little low, but he has a B plus because he's got the strength, he's got the acceleration. So I'll give you a B plus there. All right, so we're going to slide here to the next pick, number 20, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their first of their 2 picks they had in the draft, and they went with the 6'4", 209-pound free safety out of Penn State, Casey Boyce. Boyce is He's a big boy. He's 88 hit power, sitting there at 6'4", 91 acceleration. He can definitely pack a boom. I think you could almost move him over to strong safety. Tackling's a little low, but that 82 zone coverage is nice.
Yeah, and I like Boyce. He's not one of my favorite players, but if you think about it, this is the fourth safety that's went off the board thus far.
Yep.
So you're kind of slim pickings at this point. But look at the secondary right now. I mean, they got Boyu and Ramsey, and they've got this. And now they got Casey Boyce. The acceleration is what I really like. He's going to be able to roam around the field. And he's got great zone coverage, 88 hit power. So if somebody tries a post or a seam, he's going to lay them out again, kind of maybe hurt your receiver. So you're going to think twice about putting your receiver in that position. I do like the pick. I do like also the fact that he's 6'4". Again, you can't teach that.
Oh yeah, I mean, what they did, what they needed here. He needed a safety. He got the best safety available, which is Casey Boyce, which is why I'm going to give him a B plus for the grade. Maybe not as much for the player. I do like the 6'4", 91 acceleration, but more he drafted for need and he got the best available player.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a B minus just because slow
Yep.
development, 75 pursuit, and there's a couple things that kind of turn me off about him, but I still think it's a good pick.
Okay, well we're going to go to the Buccaneers here. The Buccaneers, this is their first of their two first round picks as well, and they ended up going with the left guard out of Florida Atlantic University, Damon Hayes. Damon Hayes 82, or no, he's a 77 player, superstar development, 90 strength. This is an interesting pick to see him slide all the way down here to the 21st pick.
Yeah, the Buccaneers got to steal with this pick. I'm sure that Air was licking his chops when he saw this guy was going to fall to him. He's got 78 acceleration, 90 strength. Another one of those guys where you really can play in
Mm-hmm.
any type, any position on the offensive line. So he's going to be durable with the 84 block impact block. He's going to knock people on their ass. Superstar development. It's not going to be hard for him to get that pass block and run block up. Love the pick. This is probably one of the best linemen in the class.
Yeah, and he goes all the way down here at 21. So that, yeah, he definitely did his scouting. And I mean, like we said, deep lineman class, and he's going to get a really good one here at 21. I'm going to go ahead and give him an A minus here, but a great pick overall.
I give him the same thing. Gotta love it. I mean, you really can't ask for a better player to fall right in your lap.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so at 22 here, we had the Seattle Seahawks, and they ended up going with the right tackle out of Nebraska. He's only 21 years old, 6'5", 308 pounds, Vincent Gates. The first thing that jumps off the page at me is the 89 impact block, and then the second thing is the 80 strength. It just, the impact blocking is so nice and huge in this game, but then that 80 strength it hurts. I just don't like linemen with low strength.
Well, Vincent Gates, I mean, he could play that right tackle in Nebraska, but he is not going to play tackle here.
No.
If they do, he's going to knock him on his ass. The 80 strength is just not strong enough. He's got to be a guard, especially with the 81 acceleration. I do like the pick because obviously the Seahawks do need offensive line help. With the 83 pass blocking, he's going to be able to help protect Russell Wilson, but he's going to need to get that run blocking up because they're going to get right in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean it's a decent pick here. He's a 77 overall player. I'm gonna go with the B minus. I'm gonna go with a C plus just for that 80 strength, low run block. I mean he's not a tackle in the NFL like you said. So I got the C plus here.
C plus, same as me.
Alrighty, so we're gonna slide here to our next pick, which is the Cleveland Browns. Brent had a couple picks in this draft, and he was actually not able to make the draft, but still ended up putting up a decent pick. We got Taylor Eckel, the what is he, a right tackle, the left guard out of Ohio State. He actually got this pick from the Texans in a trade they made early on before the franchise started. But Taylor Eckel, the left guard here out of Ohio State.
I do like him. Taylor Eckel, his natural position is a guard. Obviously, with the 82 strength, that doesn't really bother me much because he does have the 81 acceleration and 76 speed, 84 pass block. My only concern is you're going to have to be able to watch him. I wouldn't start him right away if you're going to run the ball a lot. With the 73, they're going to move right past him. But with that quick development, you're going to be able to build that up pretty quickly. I do like this pick especially for him not being there.
Oh yeah, 22 years old. He's got 76 speed as an offensive lineman, 81 acceleration. This guy can move. Once you up that run block, he could be a very dangerous pulling guard. I think Brent got a good one here, all the way down. Like we said, deep draft, all the way down at 27. He's going to snag a great pick here.
Yeah, and I give him a B plus.
I'm going to agree right there with you, B plus. Okay, so we got the Dallas Cowboys first pick here, and it's our second tight end taken. It's Joseph Franklin, a tight end out of Louisville. Joseph Franklin is perfect candidate to come right in and replace Jason Witten.
The only thing that worries me about him is his age. He's 24 years old. He actually had been talking to the Rams owner about getting his young tight end Everett, but he's able to get Franklin at this pick. I do like him because he's already got his attributes up. 85 catching, 84 catching traffic, 69 run block isn't that bad. I think you're able to develop him. He came out a little bit late because he's 24 years old, which is my only gripe on him. But everything else, Dak Prescott has got his replacement for Witten. I love this pick.
Oh yeah, the 87 acceleration sticks out to me. He's going to be a very nice player for them. 88 jump for a big tight end like that, especially sitting at 6'4". He arguably could be better than C.J. Boyette, who was taken all the way up there at number 7. Cowboys Josh is going to sit here and snag him at number 24 in the first round. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give him a B plus just because to snag an 81 overall tight end this late is a great pick.
I give him a B, just because what we had talked about with the age and everything. But I think B, it's not like that's negative thing. I just again, I'm not a big fan of this is the second tight end coming out. I'm not a big fan unless that's your only need. But yeah, he's going to be a replacement for Witten, so it's a good pick.
Well, speaking of steals late in the draft, this next pick that the Falcons you had with Sinialu Gross, the cornerback out of Tennessee. Gross is just an absolute stud. He has a superstar development, 92 speed, 92 acceleration, 92 agility across the board, 84 man, 78 zone. 80 press. The list goes on and on with what this guy is able to do. You got yourself probably one of the best the most pro-ready cornerback in the draft. 94 jump. I can keep going. 71 tackle. This guy is ready to go and will be a shutdown corner for you for the entire Madden 18 cycle.
Well, if you remember correctly, when we were talking about earlier that little story with the Cincinnati Bengals, I think that's why he dropped, because nobody actually everybody thought he was going to be the lock for the number 1 pick, and when they went out and got the middle linebacker, it kind of threw a lot of people off. But in Tennessee, he shut down almost every receiver in the SEC. He just has that rare talent that you look for. He's going to replace Trufant. Now I don't feel as bad for trading him off, because now I traded off Trufant. I got 2 1s and a 2. Go out and I get his replacement, and I'll have him hopefully by like an 87, 89 by the end of the year.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna give you an A plus for this pick. This is the only A plus I gave out so far. But sitting there with that speed, those coverages, superstar development, and getting him this late in the first round, like you said, drafting for need, best player available. This is a great pick. Probably might be the steal of the draft when we all look back at this.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're going to jump here. We're almost to the end. We are at number 26. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are up again. They went offensive lineman last time, and they're going to stick with that theme and take a left tackle out of Kentucky, Lane Minich. Another superstar development for ARV, 87 strength, 88 impact block. This is another great pick for ARV. You obviously see what he wanted to do. He wanted to bolster up that offensive line down in Tampa Bay, and it's exactly what he did.
Oh, absolutely. He's 23 years old, and yeah, he came out of Kentucky. He still had a pretty good amount of competition he had to play against, and he was shut down. He only gave up 1 sack the entire year. So that's why, he was, that rare talent. Superstar development, he's going to be able to develop pretty fast. 87 strength. If it's me, I'm probably sliding him over to a guard or maybe a tackle until you can kind of build that run block up. But again, this 88 impact block, he's going to knock people in their ass. And that, with the pass rush that I have, that Tampa Bay is going to need that offensive line to compete.
Oh yeah, it's a great pick for Tampa Bay. A great couple of picks for Tampa Bay. They're getting two offensive line starters that they can play right away this year, and he'll be good to go. So with minutes here, I'm going to go ahead and give him an A.
I'm giving him an A as well.
Okay. So we got the Bills up next with their second pick in the first round. You remember they took the Heisman Trophy winning strong safety Hayden Hicks out of Wisconsin, and they're going to go right back to the secondary here and take Jacoby McGowan out of Oklahoma. McGowan is to go this late, 89 speed, 94 acceleration though, and some great coverages. This is the fifth corner taken in the first round, and I mean, you look at all five of them, and they're all great players that can play.
This one, he's actually my number two corner after looking at all the grades and everything. I love his 84 man coverage, 84 zone, quick development, 94 acceleration. The only thing that kind of bothers me is his speed. But he's got Hayden to help him over the top, with the 78 press. You don't have to do much to build this guy up. Play rec, press, you're almost there. This guy is going to start from day one. I love the pick.
Yeah, and I mean the Bills just did go out and make a trade for Josh Norman too. Norman's aging, but I think Norman makes a good nickel corner. McGowan could kind of slide out wide here at 6 feet tall. He's 90 jumping. I like this pick this late in the draft, and the Bills bolstering up that secondary with Hayden Hicks and Jacoby McGowan. McGowan did benefit for that Oklahoma with that pass rush, throughout his career with your guy Jamal Perkins there. But I think McGowan is a great player. Like we said, that speed hurts him a little bit, but he has that acceleration where he can catch up to those fast receivers and make some plays for you.
Absolutely. I'm giving him a B plus just because even though that the cornerback class was so loaded, in my opinion, he got the second best corner.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there with that quick development. He's going to be a great player for that Buffalo Bills defense. Okay, so we got our third tight end going here at number 28, where the Oakland Raiders are going to take Antoine Smith out of Northern Iowa. A tight end from Northern Iowa going in the first round in the XCFL draft. That is definitely a first. But you can see Coach Doss did his scouting. He's got a superstar development tight end here at the end of the draft. Spectacular catch, 86 acceleration. He's got hands for days. That run block all the way up there at 75. The only thing I think that hurts him is a 77 speed, but I mean, he's 22 years old with all these other traits. He's going to come in day one and be a great player for this offense.
No, absolutely. And the only reason he fell so far is, he was kind of unknown. There was no exposure in Northern Iowa.
Yeah.
So, he didn't get a lot of exposure, but with 85 catching, 75 run blocking, 86 acceleration, this guy is all ready to go. And he's got Derek Carr throwing to him. That's going to be a deadly offense. If I'm betting, man, I'm going to draft this guy as my tight end in fantasy football.
There you go. And I mean, Doss ended up taking another tight end later in this draft who is Darius Carr out of Montana. So Doss has been going to small schools, and Darius Carr's run block is actually an 80 overall. So I mean, this is another tight end, a dual tight end system that could just help boast or just put Darius Jackson back on that rushing leaderboard for the Oakland Raiders here.
Absolutely. I got to give him an A minus just because I felt like they're the two tight ends that went ahead of him. I feel like that he's better than both of them.
Yep, I'm gonna go B plus for that reason, especially superstar development. The only thing is that 77 speed. It just sticks out to me that it just is too much to give him that A for me. But, okay, we're nearing our last couple of picks here. We got the Cleveland Browns sitting here at 29. They're going to go with the right outside linebacker, Gifford Vick out of Florida. And this is a great pick at 87 speed here for the Cleveland Browns. The guy's 22 years old. He can kind of play that 3-4 outside linebacker if he wanted to. But I think you're going to see him in that 4-3 defense where he'll be a little bit better just with that speed, that tackling ability, block shed 83. What's your take on Gifford Vick here out of Florida?
Well, and it really depends on what type of defense they're going to run. If they're going to run a 4-3, he's definitely that outside linebacker. But in my opinion, if you're going to run a 3-4, why not put him in the middle? Because he's got the 79 pursuit. He's got 83 block shed to throw off the defenders and stop the run before it gets past him. He's got 84 tackling, 87 speed. I do like the pick, but it depends on what scheme they're going to run him in because he's not a pass rusher. You don't have to worry about him coming off the edge and sacking the quarterback. So teams are going to realize that game plan. So it depends on where they put him at. But I do like the pick. He has all the attributes they look for. He's only 22 years old. Florida is always known for producing that tough, rugged defense. So I do like the pick.
Yeah, I agree with you there that he could be a great middle linebacker. He's got 76 zone coverage. And like we said, that 87 speed, he's going to be flying all over the field, sideline to sideline. I'd like to see the Browns put him back at that 3-4 middle linebacker if they decide to go with it. Replace Jamie Collins Sr. there, but I do like Gifford Vick, and I'm going to go ahead and give him a B here just because I'm not sure where he's going to fit in with that defensive scheme.
And I'm giving him a B for the exact same reason.
Okay, so we got 3 picks to go here. We got the Jags sitting here at number 30 with their second pick, and they went with what he was a center out of Texas A&M, Preston Pop. They went ahead and switched him to right guard here. 22 years old, 6'1", 302 pounds, just a little guy, a little big guy. But I mean, you got that 87 strength, 86 impact block, 77 acceleration. This is another very talented offensive lineman going 30th overall in the draft. What's your take on Pop here?
Well, coming out of Texas A&M, he played center, but I think after talking to Jax, he's probably going to put him in the guard position for now. He was the best center, kind of going at what we were talking about, the defensive tackle earlier. The centers weren't really that the class wasn't really that great, but this guy kind of stuck out. He did really well in that SEC against those defensive tackles, held his own, especially with the pass blocking. He's got 86 impact blocking, 82 pass blocking, 79. You can put him in there at guard, and he could start right away for you. He's only 22 years old. I don't like that he's 6'1", but 87 strength. This is a good pick for the Jags, who need that line so Fournette can run behind him.
Yeah, especially to get that guy at 30. I like this pick. I'm going to go ahead and give him a B+ here, just because that 87 strength this late in the draft, I really like it, and I think Pop will be a great player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, here we got 2 picks to go, and we have our Super Bowl runners-up here, the Minnesota Vikings, and they went with the first guy from Alabama taking the draft. His name is Tyrus Caldwell, the 6'1", 225-pound receiver. Caldwell I really liked him. He was the number 2 overall rated wide receiver at the start of the draft. But I think that 4.56 40 really scared people away from him. You see, he got that 87 speed, 87 acceleration, which hurts. Quick development, but look at that 91 spectacular catch, 96 jumping, 89 catch. This guy will not drop a pass all year for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, and watching Alabama and watching their tape, this guy reminds me a lot of Odell Beckham. He doesn't have the speed that Odell has, but he's got that size and he's got that spectacular catch and jumping ability. So because he's not 6'6", he still can jump really high. And he was actually the best at the jumping at the combine. But yeah, you're right. His 40 time definitely dropped him. I think he would have went in the top 10 if it wasn't for that. 88 route running. He knows where he's going. 89 catching. This guy's ready to go. He's got quick development, so it's not going to take much to get his catching in traffic up. He's going to be starting from day one, and he's going to be on the outside. I love this pick.
This was the one guy that was sitting there late in the draft where I was considering trading up my second a couple picks to get him. The only thing that was scaring me was that speed, but I did think he would get a little bit faster grade, maybe that 89, and then I was hoping his acceleration would be somewhere up there at 93. But Tyrus Caldwell, like I said, that's a guy you can throw the ball up to with that 91 spectacular catch, 96 jumping, and he'll make a play. And I don't think it's a big deal he doesn't have the speed, because you have Stephon Diggs on that team, who's kind of the guy that stretches the field anyways, while him and Adam Thielen can kind of work the slot, work the underneath routes, and really help out. I think it's Teddy Bridgewater still in Minnesota. Yep.
Yeah.
But I like the pick. 80 overall talent. The speed hurts. I'm gonna go with the B-, but I really do like this pick.
Because of where we're at in the draft, we're pick 31. I love the pick. I mean, this guy should have went in the top 10, but he ended up dropping. And one man's trash is another one man's treasure, and that's what this is. I really think that he could be a superstar in the making. I got to give him a B+ for this. I love this pick.
Yeah, I'm going to upgrade my pick to B. I just remember that 91 spectacular catch, so I'm going to give him a B here. Bano Jr., great pick. I like it. Okay, and with the last pick of the first round, our Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers and Commissioner Jim took an absolute dud. They took a terrible left tackle out of Arkansas State. First off, who drafts anybody from Arkansas State in the first round? The guy's Jordan Derlick, 6'6", 327 pounds, 22 years old. I mean, he's got good impact blocking. He's slower than and then only 78 strength. How many reps did this guy put up at the bench press? I mean, it couldn't have been more than 15.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter was actually there, and she actually had to help him lift the bar up. That's how weak he is. First off, why would you draft a guy with his last name Derlick? I mean, that right there should have kind of set off the radar that you don't want to pick this guy. Arkansas State. I don't know if Stevie Wonder was the scout for the Steelers this year or what, but yeah, this was definitely a bad pick. The only bright side of it is the 87 impact block and 83 run block. This guy's not going to start, especially with that good Steelers line. And I know Jim probably wanted to bolster that line a bit and get younger, but this is not going to be that pick. I mean, this guy is. I'd be surprised if he made the team.
Yeah, this is not what Jim wanted to do here. Coming off a Super Bowl, I think that Super Bowl high ended right when he saw that 72 overall pop up and that 78 strength. You can look at this guy's picture and see how skinny his face looks, but to be 327 pounds, I'm not sure about this. I hate the pick. I'm going to give Jim a D. This is just a terrible pick, Jim.
I'm giving Jim a D plus. The plus is just because he's a commissioner and puts all the work in. I probably would have gave him an F.
Well, Jim, way to round up the 30 with the first round of the draft there. But Brian, let's go ahead here and take a look at our entire draft board. Give me some guys that you think are going to jump off the page at you here and really make an impact for their team moving forward here.
First one I have to go with is V-Hop. I mean, this guy is a playmaker. He is a game changer. I would not be surprised at all if Hopkins actually does get defensive rookie of the year. Pairing him in that secondary with Malik Hooker, that's going to be a scary defense. And I just love this guy. Again, he reminds me so much of Ed Reed. He's going to be a superstar in the making.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a guy out real quick, I would probably go with the Broncos right end, Daniel Bullock, that they took out of Notre Dame at 13. Like we talked about throughout the show, I mean, he's surrounded by so many talented pass rushers that I think teams will forget about him, and he'll be able to slide in and make an immediate impact for this Broncos pass rush. I really like the pick, get him at 13. That's a great pick by our new Broncos owner there. Anybody else stick out to you?
Yeah, Roland Mumphrey. I mean, I know we talked about it. I know you weren't crazy about the speed, but this guy, again, he's that tall, physical receiver. And that's something that Brady hasn't really had since Randy Moss, and you saw how good he did with him. I think that this guy the sky's the limit for him. 6'6", 231, 93 jumping. I mean, 93 jumping when you're already 6'6", he's going to be able to, outmuscle any of these cornerbacks. So if he utilizes him correctly, he's going to be a playmaker right away.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Real quick for me to highlight two teams that I think really killed it. I'm going to go with the Falcons. Grabbing Perkins early on, and then Gross late, and the offensive lineman in the middle. I mean, those Perkins and Gross might be my two favorite picks in the draft. Those are two guys that are absolute stud, day one players for you that'll come in and make an immediate impact. I also like what Air V did, having two superstar offensive linemen with high strength late in the draft. He had 21, and I think, what other pick did he have? Another late one, 21, and maybe something down in the other 20s. But, grabbing two stud offensive linemen, great picks for Air V. Great job.
And one more I want to go over is the Buffalo Bills. They got a superstar with the Heisman Trophy winner Hayden Hicks, but they also got the cornerback McGowan, who's a quick development. So he has just single-handedly bolstered that secondary with two picks.
So then, real quick, I got one question for you. If you had to look at this, who is somebody that we haven't really talked about too much that you feel could come in and maybe take a run at offensive rookie of the year, or defensive rookie of the year, or maybe even compete for MVP, offensive player of the year? Anybody stick out to you that could?
Yeah, Dyron. I think that because of his lineage and because of the way that he presents himself, and I think that the Eagles know how to utilize those small backs. I think he has a chance to make an immediate impact, become maybe offensive rookie of the year, maybe even the MVP of the rookie. So yeah, he's probably one that stands out more than anyone else.
Oh yeah, the Eagles.
What about you?
The Eagles might have stole a little gem there. For me, I'm going to go with the guy who was taken right after Anobi there, and it's going to be the free safety out of Wisconsin, Thomas Martinez. He was a little rough around the edges. He had the speed. The Ravens are going to pop him right in immediately and replace Eric Weddle. I think this guy's going to make some plays for that Ravens defense. They're getting a little quicker. They're getting some of those contracts off the books. I think the Ravens are going to be a team to watch out for as we head into the season 11 of the XCFL here.
And I ironically face him week 1, so that'll be interesting.
We'll watch out for Martinez. But, Brian, thank you so much for joining us. You are welcome back on the show anytime. I think you did a great job filling in for Brent.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Great job. And anytime you want to come back on the show, please do.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to our recap of our first round of the XCFL draft. Make sure you guys keep tuning in. We got more Hitstick podcasts coming. We're going to have guests. We got your boy Chadwick coming back on with another Chilling with Chad segment. I apologize in advance for anything he might say that, rubs anybody the wrong way. I'm expecting Chad to go 0-16, just getting that out there. But we got another jam-packed XCFL season for you guys coming at you starting tonight, or actually last night. But week 1, good luck. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment. If we rated your pick bad and you don't agree, let us know about it. Thank you very much for listening. And for Brian Mumford, I'm Nick Larson, and we are out of here. I can't stop.